Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. We have a full house for you tonight. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, Robert Paris, BNEWS reporters Robert Paris and Chris Flaherty, Peter Brown with the weather, Matt DiMarzio with sports, Marge McDonald with senior news, and Maddie Shipka with the community bulletin board calendar. Thank you for joining us. A Burlington man was sentenced to nearly 2 decades in prison for using heroin as a way to coerce women into prostitution. As reported on BNews in March, the U.S. Attorney Office in Boston announced that Barry Davis, 38 of Burlington, pleaded guilty to 3 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, and 3 counts of interstate transportation with intent to engage in prostitution. Last week, Davis was sentenced to 18 years in prison for the crimes. According to authorities, in April 2015, Davis met a young woman at a driving instructing class and enticed her to leave with him by promising to take care of her and provide a steady supply of heroin. Davis drove her to New Jersey, rented a hotel room, and posted an advertisement for sex with her online, and took the money she made having sex with men who responded to the ad. The release states that Davis used drugs and violence to keep the woman under his control. He is said to have used heroin to coerce the woman and punched her in the head and threatened her with further harm if she did not follow his rules and prostitute for him. Later that same year, Davis engaged in similar behavior with more victims. In August 2015, Davis perpetrated a similar scheme after he picked up 2 young women from a heroin detox center and drove them to Connecticut. There, he rented a hotel room, posted online advertisements for sex with the women, and took the money they made having sex with men who responded to the ads. As with the first victim, Davis used heroin to coerce the women to prostitute for him. He also hit one of the women for breaking one of his prostitution rules and threatened to beat the other woman if she did not make enough money for him. Davis was arrested in August of 2015 after a victim was able to call for help from a hotel room. Many residents have found their vehicles broken into recently and their belongings left inside, stolen by the perpetrators. BNews reporter Chris Flaherty spoke to Detective Jimmy Tigas of the Burlington Police Department on the matter.
Over the past few weeks, residents of Burlington have fallen victim to a string of car break-ins and robberies. Rest assured, Burlington's finest are on the case.
In 2017, we've received 60 reports of vehicle breaks. A few years ago, the numbers were much higher. In fact, 2010, we had 241 car breaks. That was our high year, but we've been on a downslope this year. There have been a few incidents of overnight car breaks, particularly along the Route 62 area, the Wilmington Road area, and Francis Wyman Road area. Most of those are overnight car breaks, and an overwhelming majority, I believe it's 35 of those cars, 35 of the car breaks have the cars have either been unlocked or there's been no visible damage.
Despite speculation amongst the public, this string of break-ins does not appear to be in line with the work of an organized crime group such as the Felony Lane Gang.
There's one vehicle break that is consistent with the Felony Lane Gang. I know there's rumors around town saying that they're running through town, but it doesn't appear that way. The overnight car breaks are typically either older teens or young adults, and what they do is they search for unlocked cars, go from driveway to driveway, and that's what we're seeing when we see the concentrated groups of car breaks. But with regards to the Felony Lane Gang, they target vehicles with wallets and pocketbooks. And because they target those, what they do is they look for where there's going to be high concentration of vehicles, recreational areas, parks, athletic fields, schools, even farm stands. As long as there's a group of cars there, they'll target those.
Detective Tigas and the Burlington Police Department are advising everyone to take extra care when protecting their vehicles and other belongings.
Our suggestion is lock your car. Take your valuables out, put them out of sight, put them in the trunk. If they can't see it, they don't know what's in there, lock the cars. That's the most important thing you can do. Even in your own driveway, lock them every night.
And if you see any suspicious activity, do not engage the suspect and contact the proper authorities.
They should just call 911 right away. If they can, and it's safe to do so, try to keep an eye on them. We'd like to see what direction they go in, maybe get a description. Again, don't confront them, don't put yourself at jeopardy, and just try to get as much information as possible, but call 911 is the first thing you should do.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNews Weekly.
A medical marijuana group out of Worcester has filed paperwork with the town to open up a dispensary. According to paperwork filed with the Planning Department, Mission, Massachusetts Incorporated is looking to build a dispensary at 64 Blanchard Road. The site, zoned general industrial, is currently the location of 2 mobile homes. If the project is approved, the units will be torn down, site improvements will be undertaken, and a 4,000 gross square foot 2-story building with an accompanying parking lot will be built. The site was chosen to be in compliance with the zoning bylaw passed by town meeting in 2014 that limited where dispensaries could be set up. The law stated they could not be open near schools, parks, churches, and other vulnerable locations. The Mission, Massachusetts project has been long in the making. On September 21, 2015, the Board of Selectmen voted to send a letter of support to the state for the registered marijuana dispensary. This was done after securing a community benefit agreement that said Mission, Massachusetts agreed to give $20,000 in donation to Burlington organizations and to give the town 3% of gross annual sales with a minimum of $250,000 per year starting in the 3rd year of operation. The dispensary would also pay real estate tax, though it might be exempt from personal property tax. It also agreed to try and hire Burlington residents. The paperwork filed with the town this month was prepared by attorney Robert Buckley of Reber and Braunstein, says that on May 17th of this year, the host agreement was reissued. It also states that Mission, Massachusetts has obtained an RMD provisional certificate of registration from the Mass Department of Public Health. The project is set to be before the Planning Board on Thursday, November 2nd, and surely will result in a lot of comment. The Burlington School Committee had a long discussion about later high school start times and the impact it would have on all the schools during the Tuesday night meeting. While no vote was taken, the members did show interest in various proposals laid out by Superintendent Conti and seemed to fix on one proposal in particular. The reason they were looking at new proposals is that the first iteration, released last month, met with resistance from some parents, especially parents of elementary school children. In that plan, the start time for the high school would have moved to 8:35 a.m. from 7:30 a.m. However, it also pushed the start time for many younger students earlier, and in the minds of some parents, too early. On Tuesday evening, Dr. Conti laid out 3 new plans with different scenarios. The one he recommended to the committee, Proposal 2, would still impact start times for younger students, but less dramatically. In that plan, the high school would start at 8:35 a.m. and the middle school would keep its start time of 7:35. Memorial would keep its start time of 8:10, and both Fox Hill and Pine Glen would switch from 8:35 to 8:10. Francis Wyman would start later, moving from 8:10 to 8:35. Conti said that even though the proposal changed the start times for multiple schools, it also addressed the concerns expressed by parents. Here he is explaining why.
I think Proposal 2 reflects some of the feedback that we received. Again, I understand, I'll keep saying this, the middle school isn't ideal, but this is about doing the most for the largest number of kids, but it keeps the middle school where it is. Doesn't have the elementary school starting any earlier than some of the elementary schools start now, and then keeps the high school start time at 8:35 to 3:05 and doesn't add any additional buses. I think for financial reasons and for reflective of some of the feedback that we received, I thought Proposal 2 was the most appropriate, I guess.
Most of the school committee members agreed with the recommendation, though they said they'd like to hear feedback after these new plans are circled around. Christine Wanico was the member who expressed the most doubt. She said she thought a start time for the high school of 8 a.m. would get the benefit of teenage students getting more sleep, but would not have as much impact on the end of the day and programs such as sports or extracurricular activities. The school committee is set to have a vote on the proposals during its next meeting on November 14th. If you have interest in that, you ought to appear at that meeting. Jack's Coal-Fired Pizza, a new restaurant in the former Paparazzi building, held its grand opening celebration this week. BNews reporter Robert Paris was there and files this report.
A brand new restaurant has recently opened up its doors in Burlington. On Tuesday, October 24th, Jack's Coal-Fired Pizza held their grand opening on 2 Wall Street, where people of the community could come by and take a glimpse of what Jack's has in store.
Jack's is we have a coal-fired pizza concept, but we also have a wood-fire oven as well. It's geared towards a craft beer selection. We also have got a great American wine, a little bit of Italian wines as well, and also a great cocktail list. So it's a unique concept for us, and it's our first concept of its kind.
The history of Jack's goes back to the early 1900s.
Well, Jack's, actually, the name came from actually our owner. Our owner's grandfather had emigrated from Ireland back in the 20s over to New York, and he was an iron worker. And he actually worked on a lot of the buildings there. And at lunchtime, during that time, there used to be all the iron workers had like iron lunch boxes. So he used to bring his lunch, obviously in a bread and a bit of a dough, and used to fill it with some tomatoes and onions and some meats. And when it came around lunchtime, they used to put the steel boxes into the rivet coal-fire ovens, cook it up a little bit before lunch, and pulled it back out a few minutes later, and they were ready to go. And the owner's grandfather was named Jack. So, and that story was passed all the way down to his father, and his father told him. So, and it's where we got the name from.
Jack's offers customers 2 types of ways you can order your pizza.
We have a great selection of food we offer here. We have, obviously we have our pizza pies, which are, that's what the concept is based on. We have 2 ovens, coal-fired and wood-fired. Coal-fired oven is a specialty oven that was built for us. It's got a 4-inch thick hearth, keeps that pizza crust on the bottom extra crispy, gives a nice char on the edges of the crust. We also have our Maraforna oven, which is imported from Italy, which does wood, which is wood-based, and we light a fresh wood fire in there every morning and keep it going all day. You get a nice char, nice smokiness out of the wood.
Want something else besides pizza? Jack provides a variety of dishes ranging from salads, pastas, and even homemade chicken wings.
We offer a good selection. We have 4 different pastas, an Alfredo, we have a spaghetti and meatball, a scampi. We also offer different salads. We have 4 different salads, a la rosa, a romaine, a garden, and, we have an arugula. We have a selection of appetizers, or starters we call them. Some of our most popular ones are the wings. All our wings are done in-house. They're not fried like you might see anywhere else. They're actually, we marinate the wings for a day and a half, and then after that we roast them off. We get a nice caramelization on them. We cook all the seasonings, herbs into the skin of the wing, and then we finish them off in our coal-fired oven.
Jack's Coal-Fired Pizza is very happy to become a part of the Burlington community.
We had an opportunity to come into this beautiful space, and it's a large 13,000 square foot building, and we had a great opportunity to actually do 2 concepts into one building. So we do have our Temescal Tequila Cantina next door, and a great opportunity to do a smaller version restaurant concept, and that's where Jack's Coal-Fired Pizza came. And thought it'd be a great fit in here as well.
Finally, David and Sean hope people will enjoy the atmosphere at Jack's.
Well, it's there's not too many great pizza concepts in around Burlington too. So we spent a lot of time perfecting our special doughs, our wood fire and coal fire doughs, and a lot of time and effort went into it, and creating our great beverage list along with a lot of appetizers and some pasta dishes and great salads that we have too. So I hope they take a lot away from it too, and I think we've got a great product here that the town of Burlington are going to love, and hopefully we'll be able to spread our wings a little bit more and open up more concepts.
It's a great pizza place in Burlington. It's family friendly. It's got a gorgeous it's got a gorgeous dining room, very comfortable setting. We have a deep red booths, which are very comfortable. We have cafe dining at our bar of 25 seats. We also have an outdoor patio, which is a 3-season patio. It's got air conditioning and heat, so we could open at 3, at least, hopefully, let's say around here, at least most of the year we can keep it open.
From Jack's Coal-Fired Pizza, I'm Robert Paris for BNews Weekly.
The town of Burlington is going to take advantage of a current project to plan for future technology upgrades. On Monday night, the Board of Selectmen approved the use of funds to have fiber optic cables laid down in the town common, while it is currently being dug up for an overhaul of the electrical system. As reported by BNEWS in September, town meeting voted to move $150,000 from the town's reserve fund for an overhaul of the electrical system currently in place. This project will entail installing a whole new system with up-to-date components, and that would conform to Massachusetts electrical and building codes. The project currently underway requires workers to dig up sections of the common to replace the underground wires. On Monday night, the Selectmen voted to approve the use of $53,000 from the Information Systems Fund to add fiber optic cables as well to take advantage of the work already being done. Burlington Director of Technology Robert Kuna said once the cables were in place, it would be much easier and quicker if and when the town decided to set up Wi-Fi on the town common. He said that it could also be used to bring Wi-Fi to buildings such as the Historical Museum, which currently doesn't have it. The board voted 3-0 to approve the use of the funds for the project. We're also hopeful that BCAT will be enabled to bring you live productions directly from the common during the course of the year. The Burlington Police Department is furthering its efforts to help those struggling with addiction. Chief Michael Kent announced that the department has joined the Police Assisted Addiction and Recovery Initiative, PAARI, and received an AmeriCorps grant from PARRI to bring on a full-time program coordinator and a part-time recovery coach to enhance the department's substance abuse prevention and recovery efforts. This new statewide program, which launched earlier this month, combines the powers of community service, the recovery community, and police-based referral programs. The program is intended to keep people out of jail. According to the release, members will build the capacity of law enforcement programs and assist those suffering from substance use disorders by connecting them to treatment and recovery services that divert them from the criminal justice system. Thanks to the grant, the department is welcoming Margie Taylor as the Burlington Police Department's new full-time program coordinator. They also bring on Jackie Tayabaji as the department's new part-time recovery coach. Jackie, I apologize if I didn't get that right. Together with the Burlington Police Department, the women will serve the community by providing outreach, support, and treatment referrals for individuals with substance use disorders and their families. Margie and Jackie both recently completed training through the Department of Public Health Bureau of Substance Addiction Services. Temple Shalom Emeth launched a new program for people home during the day. It is a monthly luncheon that will feature a guest speaker. Their first speaker was an expert in extremist organizations who has been featured on many national news broadcasts. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford went to check it out and files this report.
Recently, Temple Shalom Emeth hosted its first in what they hope to be a long-running monthly L'chaim luncheon. The guest speaker at the event was renowned investigative journalist and extremist organization expert Chip Berlay, who gave a talk on fascism, anti-Semitism, and the alt-right. Organizers of the event said that given the current climate of politics, he was a perfect fit for their first event.
Chip Berlay is a hidden gem in the Burlington community, and he's an internationally known expert on extremist groups and cults. And in this day and age, when we're all struggling with what's happening in our country, I just felt like this would resonate with a lot of people to come and hear him talk about, help us interpret what's happening in our country and ways in which we can most effectively respond and come together as a community and a nation.
A conspiracy
During his talk, Berlay spoke about the history of extremist groups, the rise of racism in the past and the present, and about how leaders who use fear of the other as a rallying cry can create dangerous environments, even if those leaders themselves don't push for violent policies. He said he thinks that may be a danger with our current president.
Well, the problem I see, especially with Trump's rhetoric, whether he knows it or not, is that he basically says there are people who are appropriately citizens of the United States, and that no matter what the law says, there are other people who are not appropriate as citizens, like Mexicans or Muslims, and he sometimes backs off on that, but he keeps saying it over and over again. And I was under the impression that in a democracy, especially one with a constitution, we live under the rule of law. And so I'm worried that he's not guiding the country under the rule of law, and that he is demonizing and blaming groups of people who then become the targets of anger and attack, and that's not acceptable.
Rabbi Abramson said she appreciated how the talk put some of the things we see today in a historical perspective.
What's causing people to express fear of others and intolerance of other people, just like understanding why people are more emotional in that direction was very, very helpful for me to understand. And also the dog whistles that some of our current officials use in their rhetoric was important for me to hear how they're utilizing that with social media to make things even to spread messages which are not in consonance with the values of our nation.
Finally, I asked Burley what he wanted to convey to the audience that they could take with them and apply to their lives.
Well, that if we want to save democracy in the United States, we need to learn to talk to each other and not at each other. And that while I have very clear views about human rights and civil liberties and social welfare, it doesn't mean I can't have a conversation with somebody else who may be a conservative Trump supporter, and we can talk about trout fishing together, or something else where we can agree that maybe we need to save at least part of the environment where there's a trout stream. And by starting to have a conversation across those barriers, what we learn is that we may have more in common with other people. There may be differences we can't bridge, but we can stop shouting at each other. And I think the basis of real democracy is when people will get together with different ideas to solve a problem.
You can watch the full talk on our website at www.bcattv.org. At Temple Shalom Emeth, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
You should remember that extremism is not limited to the right or the left. We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown in our Weather Center for a look at the week ahead, including the weather expected for Halloween night. We'll also check out the community calendar with Maddie Shipka to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone, and this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. And here we are, can you believe it? We're absolutely just at about the end of October. I can't believe how fast the time has been going by. I hope you were able to duck all of that heavy rain that we saw over the past few days here in the Burlington area. Oddly enough, though, we didn't see nearly as much rain around here as some places to our west and the east. We seem to be in the dry slot again, so that's something funny to say, that's for sure. But as we start out our period, we're actually going to see temperatures actually cooling down to where they should be at this time of the year. Highs starting out on Friday are only going to be maybe around 60, but probably not getting out of the upper 50s. So finally a day that's average. Almost every day in October this year has been either at or above average by actually a fairly significant amount of degrees, that's for sure. And look at this here as we get to the end of our period. Look at this. We're looking into the first week of November. I know you can't believe it. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, if you can believe that. And temperatures at that time of the year should be in the upper 50s, and we're going to see temperatures that are going to be about average for the next 7 days. So something that you'll really expect getting into the middle of fall. And of course, you can notice here, days keep getting shorter and shorter as we march towards winter. That's for certain. Now, as we go ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about what's going to be going on with our weather for the next 7 days. Now, looking at this map here, this is a little bit different than what we've been seeing in the Burlington area for the past month and a half or so. We're actually going to see a fairly active pattern as we get into the end of the weekend and starting next week out. We're going to have actually maybe the convergence of a couple of low pressure centers, actually a little bit more than what this map is actually depicting. There may be a system coming up from Florida and from the Gulf of Mexico trying to make its way up along the coast, and that may combine with one of these low pressure centers that are going to be pushing in from New York State. And right now it looks like we're expecting a fairly healthy dose of rain and some very, very high winds around here, especially getting into Sunday night into Monday morning. So that's definitely going to have to be something we're really going to have to keep our eyes on. We could have quite a powerful system here in the Burlington area, as we said again, getting into the latter half of Sunday and into the first part of Monday. However, after that system passes by, we're not going to really see anything too cold coming in our area. We're just going to see another high pressure center moving in, and that's going to give us some very seasonable temperatures and some actually pretty fairly nice weather. Now, as we go ahead, I'm going to also show you a graphic that's going to give us an idea as to what might be happening this upcoming winter in the Burlington area. This is basically an image of what the sea surface temperatures in the Pacific Ocean are right around this time right now. And as you can see here, this is the western coast of South America. And you may have recalled in earlier broadcasts we've been talking about El Nino a couple of years ago, and that's when we usually see a lot of very warm water here in the eastern Pacific. However, this year, complete opposite. We see a lot of extremely cold water, much colder than average water than there usually is at the time of the year. So we're going to have to see how that works out as we get into the winter season. You have to see if it combines with what's going on in the Atlantic coming up, and that may determine maybe us having even another mild winter. We're going to have to see. Usually La Nina brings us colder weather, but it looks like the signals are a little bit different this year. But as we go ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about our weather coming up for the next 7 days, including that all-important Halloween forecast coming up for Tuesday evening. Now, again, starting out Friday and Saturday, we're going to see sun with some patchy clouds around. Temperatures in the Burlington area hovering around 60 or so, with 62 might be a little bit generous on Saturday, so it is going to be a little bit chilly. And, of course, those morning lows reflected there as well, kind of getting frosty out there again. Now, getting into Sunday and Monday, here's where we have the issue with maybe a fairly powerful storm affecting us here, not only in the Burlington area, but all over New England, that's for certain. And that, unfortunately, we think is going to really put an end to most of the foliage season here, even down in southern New England. We could see winds gusting as high as 50 to 60 miles an hour around the southern New England area. Temperatures, of course, chilly, but not too chilly, about where they should be in the mid-50s. And of course, though, once we get by that storm, look at this on Halloween. Beautiful conditions if you're out trick-or-treating. And see temperatures a little bit chilly in the mid-50s. And of course, by the time you're out there getting all that candy at everybody's houses, we're going to see the temperatures starting to fall down in the 40s and maybe the upper 30s as we get to later in the night. But after that, we have some beautiful weather coming up for the end of the week. Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, another cold front's going to be approaching us, and we may see some showers and temperatures again in the upper 50s to lower 60s. So, folks, we still have some great weather to come up as we're heading in towards November. Have a happy Halloween and enjoy your week.
Hello, I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your community calendar. Grab your family and friends and head on down to the annual book sale. On November 3rd through 5th at the Burlington Public Library, they'll be having their annual fall book sale. There will be many items on sale, including books, CDs, DVDs, puzzles, and much more. Everyone is welcome. For more information and dates and times, visit burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. Let's all pull for a cause. On Saturday, November 4th at 10 a.m. at the Fox Hill School parking lot, Relay for Life will be having their first annual Pull for a Cure fundraiser. The fundraiser will help benefit the American Cancer Society. Everyone is welcome. For more information and to sign up, visit relay.acsevents.org or call Cheryl Schaffman at 781-771-6410 or Julie Quinn at 617-909-5060. Come take a look at some unique designs made from a form of textile art. On Saturday, November 4th at Grandview Farm, the AIDS Memorial Council will be having a display of handmade tapestry. This free display of the quilt is being presented at a part of a wine tasting event hosted by the Rotary Club of Burlington. Visitors may attend the free display on that Saturday from noon to 7 p.m. There will also be a wine tasting which will be held from 5 to 7 p.m. Tickets for the wine tasting are $25 each and can be purchased by calling Susan Stewart at 781-229-6060 or Beverly Vidoli at 781-272-1900. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this has been your Community Calendar.
As the fall sports season comes to a close, BNews sports reporter Matt DiMarzio has the latest on which Red Devil teams are in the finals and what others need to do to secure a spot. Let's check it out in this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, this is Matt DiMarzio here with your weekly sports report. There's only one March Madness, but October is shaping up to be pretty crazy here in Burlington. As the final week of the fall sports season unfolds, several Red Devil teams have either already qualified for the state tournament or still have a shot at it. The soccer teams both had must-win games to play on a soggy Thursday. The boys headed to Malden to play Melrose with a pretty simple scenario. If the Devils win, they advance to the state tournament. If they lose, they're out. The girls face a somewhat similar predicament. The girls host Melrose on Thursday at 6 o'clock at the high school and then face Shawsheen Tech at 4 o'clock in Billerica on Friday. With a victory in both games, the girls will advance. This is quite a turnaround for the girls, who seem destined to miss the playoffs early in the fall season. The volleyball team doesn't need any heroic last-minute wins. After 17 matches, the girls had an 11-6 record and were already on their way to the playoffs. The girls face Melrose in the Middlesex League's first ever volleyball night this week, and a showdown of the Freedom Division's two best teams. The golf team recently wrapped up its season at the state sectional tournament. Although not advancing to the state finals as a team, senior Sean Hurley moved on as an individual, continuing one of the better seasons that a Red Devil golfer has ever put together. Now the cross-country teams will be winding down their season soon. On Monday in Woburn, the boys and girls will both run in the Middlesex League Championship meet, before the year-end meets the next weekend in Rentham. The swim team is also gearing up for the league and sectional events in the coming weeks. While the football team failed to qualify for the playoffs, the Red Devils will try to finish the season strong in the consolation bracket of the season over the next 3 weeks, before facing undefeated Lexington on Thanksgiving Day. Burlington plays in Revere on Friday night, looking for victory number 1 this season. That's all for your weekly sports report. I'm Matt DiMarzio. I'm back to you guys in the studio.
One place where there is always a lot happening is the Senior Center. We go now to Council on Aging Director Marge McDonald for the latest senior news.
It still doesn't feel like fall, but the holiday season is upon us with some really fun events. On Monday, October 31st at 1 p.m., Rita Parisi of Waterfall Productions will spook us out with Gothic ghost tales by candlelight. In the 20th century, the ghost story has become rare, but at the same time, there are many uncanny things that science still cannot explain. Some of the most imaginative and original writers of the 20th century have been women. In their ghost stories, they have probed the possibilities of other dimensions in time and human consciousness. They've mixed old-fashioned ghosts and science fiction to create the modern ghost story. On Tuesday morning, Minuteman Senior Services and Leahy Health are sponsoring a presentation on Medicare open enrollment. Come learn about any changes you need to know about and make sure your Medicare plan will still work for you in 2018. Open enrollment runs through December 7th. You can also set up an appointment with one of our Shine counselors for a one-on-one appointment. On November 1st, the new New Orleans Jazz Band will play from 12 noon to 1:30 p.m. in the Murray Kelly Wing. On Monday, November 6th, we'll be showing episodes of The Carol Burnett Show. Come laugh the afternoon away with memories of when life was a little simpler. At 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 8th, we'll have a nutrition student at the center do either a nutrition presentation or cooking demo. Stay tuned to the Senior Center Activity Board for more information. Officer Lynn Reynolds will be here for her coffee hour on Monday, November 13th at 9 a.m. Come meet Officer Reynolds and ask any burning questions you may have. Chef John Riley from Atria will also be here on the 13th. He will do a cooking demo for us at 1 p.m. I have no idea what he's doing, but he never disappoints us. Billerica Crossings is November's dinner on Wednesday, November 15th at 5 p.m. Sign up for the event begins on Wednesday, November 8th at 3 p.m. $3 gets you in for a delicious dinner with lots of socializing. A Whole Bunch Flower Market provides the centerpieces for the supper every month. On Thursday, November 16th, I will be spending much of the day at Barnes & Noble's for a book fair with a presentation and book signing by author Olivia Hoblitzel, with her newest book coming out November 14th, Aging with Wisdom, Reflections, Stories, and Teachings. This will not be filmed, so you don't want to miss it. Ms. Hoblitzel will talk about her book at 10:30 with a book signing afterwards. All purchases with a voucher that day will benefit the Council on Aging. You can get started on your Christmas shopping and help the Senior Center at the same time. That's a win-win. DA Marion Ryan will be coming out to the Senior Center to talk to the Nitwits about Project Linus. Project Linus makes sure children who have been through trauma have a warm, knitted blanket to cuddle into. Although she's coming out when the Nitwits meet, anyone who is interested is invited to come on Tuesday, November 21st at 1 p.m. That's all for now. I'm Marge McDonald, and I hope to see you at the Senior Center.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo shows a fuzzy creature that is the subject of much folklore and even a more fascinating truth. It was sent in by Colleen Moore and shows a woolly bear caterpillar. Folklore says you can tell how cold the upcoming winter will be based on the thickness of the black bands on one of these caterpillars. The thicker the dark part, the longer and colder the winter. However, scientists have discovered that the length of the different bands depends on age and diet. What is really cool, though, is that no matter how cold the winter gets, these guys will be just fine. As the winter turns cold, they find a dark place to hibernate, and their bodies create a natural organic antifreeze that allows the caterpillar to freeze slowly until everything but the interior of their cells are frozen. Using this method, they can survive with temperatures far below freezing. Thank you for the photo, Colleen. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, the weather outside your own door, photos of your family members and pets, also costumes from Halloween if you've got something really creative, whatever you think is interesting and would like to share with the community. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Also, don't forget that you can sign up for our daily newsletter compiled by BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, which keeps you up to date on news happening in Burlington as it happens. Also, you can go to bcattv.org and see all of our programming archived from any of the number of programs that we produce here by the station or by individual volunteers. And also, don't forget, if you want to be in front of the camera or behind the camera or writing for the camera, please get in contact with us for any of the programs that we have and any programming ideas that you might have. That's it from the news desk here at BNews Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with Rich Hosford, Chris Flaherty, Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, Marge McDonald with Senior News, Maddie Shipka with Community Calendar, and Peter Brown with the weather. Thank you and good evening.